blind bans with that said. No more blind bans. It's actual. You're going to see who's banning what. So as you can see right here. Oh, that's going to happen many more times.
We're good.
Anyways, as you can see, the banning phase kicked off. So both teams get 1-1-1-1 as far as the banning phase goes. So 2 bans each side, and then it goes into 2 picks for each side, and then 3 bans for each side after that, and then 3 picks for each side. Or actually, maybe it's 2-3-3-2. Maybe I'm mistaked on that.
It should be
actually, I think it's 3 picks here.
2-2-3-3.
2-2-3-3?
I think.
I don't know.
I think.
How about we'll find out here with what the actual system is.
I mean, and of course, with that just releasing yesterday, I'm actually really excited. This is going to be my first game on the live servers, actually getting to watch this. But
Me too.
Already up top, I mean, we see some really, really strong heroes. Monkey King and Master of Arms being banned out by the captain of What a Joke. Tempest and Ophelia, of course, with Tempest receiving a pretty big nerf yesterday, no longer able to deny with his W, the Elementals. And that's actually pretty big. I've talked to a couple of competitors, and they say this is going to be a bigger reason why Tempest might not be #1 anymore, but see him banned out here.
As long as the jungle meta exists, I find it very, very hard to believe that Tempest is going to be overlooked. I mean, yes, that's definitely a nerf to him. I mean, there's no disputing that, of course. But the fact, I still think Tempest is going to be a top-tier hero personally. We'll see, obviously, how that develops over the time. I mean, he still brings that great pushing presence. The jungling, one of the most powerful, you could even argue, the strongest jungle farmer in the game. Yeah. And on top of that, of course, there's always the Elemental Void, the great Elemental Void that he brings to the table. So we'll see how that develops, but here, sure enough, he is banned by, actually happened to be banned by our Hellborn team over here. We're into that picking stage, so it looks like it is 3 picks here, and then we'll go into 3 bans after this. So anyways, Keeper of the Forest, Engineer, Parasite, Wretched Hag, Pebbles. Look at that. They managed to get both Keeper and Parasite right off the bat here.
I mean, that is very impressive, but when you're only talking about 4 heroes being banned out, the same number as the blind bans, those heroes that we might normally see in the lock pool, those ones are going to go directly into these teams. So you really have to be calculating with what heroes you're going to be banning out first. In this case, allowing Keeper of the Forest and Parasite to end up on the same team. Engineer and Wretched Hag, definitely 2 strong heroes over on the Hellborn team as well, and they're going to get their last pick right here. With that support already in Engineer, I'm loving the way this team shapes up, but there are a lot of strong heroes left on the board. There it is, Rally.
Now, Rowley, again, one of many heroes that received changes in that patch. His laning presence definitely took a hit with with his passive ability. His passive being that, what is it even called? The battle experience, of course. Yeah. It no longer actually does attack damage. It's just straight up minus, or armor penetration even. Ignore armor, basically, all the way up to 60%, as you can see. So it definitely is going to hurt his laning presence. But as we talked about, I mean, still expect to see him. The Compel alone just brings this hero to the top tier, so no surprise to see him picked up here. But yeah, I'm a little concerned for Pew Fan Club over here, considering they're going up against a Keeper Parasite to start things off, and a Pebbles on top of that. Yeah. There's still plenty of great support to follow up with that Pebbles even.
Yeah, I think the Legion has done a really good job so far at actually drafting this team. The Keeper of the Forest is going to throw him into the suicide role, somewhere where he definitely excels. The Parasite enables them to really go aggressive jungle or defensive jungle, and they really haven't revealed any of that information just yet. And then the Pebbles is just going to do great. You pair that with something like a Deadwood and then throw any of the supports that are still available, talking about maybe Glacius or the Aluna or even Nymphora that are still on the board, and this Legion team is going to look great. The Hellborn, their strategy is going to be really interesting, whether they choose to run this Wretched Hag as more of a #1 type carry, or they try to get her a little bit more mid-game potential. That's going to be where we look to see how this Hellborn team operates.
Yeah.
But there's the rest of the bans finishing up, so that's 10 bans completed.
Yeah, again, that's another thing. I mean, obviously you get ultimately 10 bans now instead of what used to be 8 even. Or was it 8? No, it was 10. Am I blanking on that? Wait, the blind band, it was 10 total, so I don't know why I said that. But anyways, you get 10 still. Predator, Nomad, Lowstone, Zephyr, Gemini, Moon Queen is how the bans are shaping up here to finish things off. So now with the 2 final picks for either side, there you go, Pyromancer. It looks like they choose Pyromancer as their support choice most likely. I mean, I guess it doesn't 100% have to be that here in this case, but it's probably going to be their support option here, and he obviously can go very well with Pebbles, and both in the laning phase and as the game develops on. A lot of people have been a lot of teams have been liking the Pyromancer support just because of the aggressiveness that he brings to the table. Brings a great AoE stun on top of that. His Blazing Strike, I mean, obviously a great single target. additional amount of damage. So
a huge amount of burst damage there if you're really trying to focus somebody down. The one thing I will say about Pebbles Pyromancer is, especially with these players that aren't necessarily super well practiced with these heroes, it can be kind of hard to hit those combinations. If you see these two heroes in the middle lane, you really have to rely on that Pebbles landing the stalagmites first.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a charge shot or a glacial freeze, something like that to set up the combo. So gonna rely on that skill. Torture are going to be the fourth pick here for the Hellborn team. So getting another one of those support heroes, most likely going to be going without a jungler here. So Torture probably going to take over that secondary support role, or could be farming. But back over to the Legion side, so we don't see that 2 pick ever. That's something that Dogkaiser pointed out. You never see 2 heroes picked in consecutive order by one team. I was kind of expecting Brown to be picking right now. But no, it's back over to the other side, so definitely something to get used to.
Yeah, that's another. And on top of that, the Legion side will always get the first pick, actually, in all the cases. And so it ends up being, so the Hellborn side, of course, they get the final pick to finish things off. Look at that.
Ooh.
Definitely a curveball coming out there from What a Joke. Bushwhack as their short lane carry, most likely going to be picked up here. I honestly have not seen good performances out of Bushwhack so far when it comes to his competitive experience. I mean, it's been very little with that said, but it just seems like, I mean, he definitely has great potential to be a hard hitter late game. I think that's no question. But it's just as far as getting there, it just seems like he hasn't been able to get there
Absolutely.
yet.
And you know what I think I really like about this Bushwhack pick? They've done a fantastic job of creating a team that's going to be able to generate pressure around the map and give Bushwhack space.
Yeah.
You talk about that Pebbles and Pyromancer. Once Pebbles gets his portal key, if he's just running around, running the murderous moppets, and just generating space in conjunction with Parasite and Keeper of the Forest, you're just going to run amok in the enemy jungle, just really generate some pressure. It's going to give Bushwhack the time he needs to get the levels and get the minimal amount of farm he needs to really take over the jungle and the Ancients, because this hero is one of the stronger farmers in the game if he's able to get that decent start. And then into the later game, if you throw those items and levels on him and you have good positioning, he can be amazing. So really looking forward to this Legion team running the Bushwhack. But last pick coming out, Breaky CPK, it's Magmus.
Good to see the Magnus ended up here. Looks like swapped to Gink Sinatra. Ooh, look at that. What a joke. Showing off some... Oh, no, Parasite failed. Parasite failed. It almost worked.
It sounded good.
It sounded... Yeah, it did. I thought they actually had it, but Chunks playing the Parasite. I guess he was on a different page.
He dropped the ball. He's not even loading right now. I kind of think he crashed.
Might have dropped his mouse on the ground or something like that.
Wow. Bad-mannered.
Maybe.
But this Hellborn team, I'm really liking the aggression coming out of it. I talked about the Wretched Hag, whether they were going to run her as more of a farmer or whether they were going to be running her as maybe somebody that has more of that mid-game potential. And I definitely think that she's going to be doing a little bit of farming here. But look at the team around her. The 4 heavy stuns that are coming out on the Hellborn. If you really set her up with 1 or 2 of those heroes and then just drop the massive amount of burst that she presents, you're going to be able to tear things up. And this is the kind of team that you need to be able to deal with a hard farming Bushwhack.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're looking to collapse. You're looking to collapse on top of him. Obviously, Bushwhack having that sidestep ability can be great for getaways in certain cases, but yeah, 100% agree with you. For the most part, though, Bushwhack is that I want to sit back, I want to farm, and eventually become a very dominating right-click carry. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work with that. Obviously, having to keep the force on top of that. He is a suicide, so he's not a jungle keeper by any means, so you're not as concerned about the passivity necessarily. But, when it comes to aggressive play from him as well, not knowing for most of the other than maybe pushing the towers. But, yeah, so it's going to be fun to see how our Legion team decides to well, as far as the landing stage goes, I think it's pretty obvious when it comes to it, at least for the Legion team. I am a little, let's see, I guess for the Hellborn side, it's going to be... I don't know, actually. Are we going to see an aggressive tri-lane here, perhaps, even?
That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Throwing Rally and Wretched Hag into those solo positions. We've seen Rally time and time again really do that middle lane 1v2 suicide, and he's almost always going to be able to get those levels as a result of that level 1 compel. And then running the aggro tri-lane, Magmus, Engineer, and most likely that Torture going to be heading into the long lane. This is what I like to see when you're actually tailoring your lanes to try to shut down the biggest threat on your opponent's team. In that early game, that's probably going to be Pebbles, but if you can stunt Bushwhack early, his recovery availability, he's pretty damn good at being able to recover, but if you really early and then you try to take 4v5 engagements, essentially, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So I'm really liking the way the Hellborn team has laned this.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And with that said, you expect WaJ to very likely make some kind of change. I mean, even if that means the idea of them trying to match up against it, maybe send that Pebbles Pyromancer bottom with the Parasite in the jungle. I don't know if I like that either. Even so, even just sending the Keeper of the Forest outright bottom and having Bushwhack go top and then force adjustments. But at the same time, if you do that, then a quick adjustment from the Hellborn team, and all of a sudden Bushwhack could be in a lot of trouble at the top lane. So I guess in the long run, if you're WaJ, you kind of just have to accept it and hope that, well, not even hope, but you're really relying on your Pebbles to have an absolute good time in this middle lane, and then perhaps take advantage of the roaming supports here on the Hellborn side of being caught off guard, and maybe Parasite Pebble, something like that, can collapse on them. So we'll see how it progresses, of course. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if we have any early game adjustments here.
Yeah, and the one nice thing about Parasite is, unlike a hero maybe like the Tempest or one of the even harder farming jungle heroes, he does rotate just kind of naturally a lot. So seeing him in the Legion jungle doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be in the Legion jungle 3 minutes from now. He'll probably do some drive-bys there middle. And how is the Hellborn team really going to react to this? If they want to really shut down this bottom lane and really try to shut down the jungle, we're going to need to see some rotation coming out of them. Because right now, I mean, if you look down there, Magnus and Engineer are in the jungle. They're hard denying. They're getting lane position, and that's exactly what they need to do. They don't need to be diving onto this Bushwhack right now. For the first couple of waves down here, expect to see them hard denying this lane back, trying to get the good lane position, and then just zoning, which they'll be able to do with only 2 heroes, leaving one, probably this Magnus, to actually free roam.
Yeah. Yeah, for now, again, they're trying to be patient with it, but at the same time, you probably only want to be sitting here so long, because the longer you wait, then the longer you are going to be level 1 here on this Magnus, and then, that could definitely be a downfall, especially being Magnus. That level 1 Lava Surge stun really does scale off quickly when it comes down to the range being so minimal.
Absolutely.
So, but definitely the patience game here. You see the very aggressive Water Sight behind the tower, of course, and definitely giving vision to Bushwhack of him trying to make something happen, but as soon as he moves, he realizes Magnus spots him. So maybe even picking up that there is a Water Sight there. We'll see if it gets countered or not. But for now, we see Magnus and Engineer. They're going to start the roam. So now this is where Parasite needs to be a little bit careful. And currently, sitting at half life, I don't know if they're going to end up spotting him. It doesn't look like. They're just going to keep the roam going. So again, we'll keep an eye on that to see how that progresses here. I'm also very intrigued to see how this rally here in the middle lane, how he does, because again, as we are just talking about, the battle experience, it no longer gives you damage anymore. It's just simply the armor penetration. So it definitely weakens his laning phase, and on top of that, he is 1 versus 2 in this case against the Pebbles Pyromancer. So just for that alone, really, not expecting him to have the best time.
Yeah, and something else to actually point out, against the Pebbles, when you're sinking points into this battle experience, which he is right now, it's percentage-based. Pebbles being an extremely low armor hero, only 0.3 armor right now, Rally could be ignoring 100% of that armor, and it still would not be as efficient as even 1 just point of armor penetration. So leveling against this Pebbles is kind of interesting. If Magnus and Engineer come over here, Rally's not going to be able to contribute a ton of damage as opposed to if he had leveled up that Deafening Roar. So at least getting that slow as well. And I can't remember if that even got changed a little bit in the patch.
I don't believe it did, no. I don't think that got touched. Oh, we got some possible initiation load. Look at this Bushwhack joining Parasite. The neck comes out on the Engineer, but he was way too far away. Magnus was kind of sitting there with the Invis. He's just sitting there here this whole time, scouting things out. And actually, they may look to come back in and set up a counter gank on a Parasite. But Parasite still has support nearby.
Yeah, Bushwhack going to be coming over. He's doing a little bit of jungling himself now. Does have that Splinter Shot. So for those of you who might not be as familiar with the Bushwhack, since I believe this is going to be one of our first times seeing him here on HoNcast, the Splinter Shot is his farming mechanism, allowing really all of his shots to kind of pierce through and then become a little bit of a cone at the end. And does a great job. I mean, if he's able to get even the most bare items and level 7, he can actually farm Ancients pretty damn effectively. Takes a little bit of time, but he's able to get them done with minimal damage taken, and if you're able to clean those up, that's a pretty large influx of resources for you.
Yeah. So again, we'll keep an eye on who's playing that. No Life here, playing the Bushwhack. See how he progresses on. Parasite continuing to just farm it up. I mean, he's constantly spotted, it seems like, by this Magnus Pyromancer, or by the Magnus and Engineer, as Pyromancer actually doing some damage right there to Rally, but Raleigh, of course, is going to be able to compel away. Helps him make him a great 1 versus 2 hero. But here we go with the Parasite. Again, he runs into the 2 roaming support, but nothing really comes of it in the end. Obviously, being in the Wild Hunter makes it very difficult. to be able to do something in the first place.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
honestly, I think if you're the Legion side right now, if you're WaJoke, you're actually pretty happy overall with how the laning phase is going on, considering it could have been a lot worse with those roaming supports here on the bottom side of the map. But
Yeah,
no kills
definitely.
happening just yet.
And as we see Keeper of the Forest up in the top lane, he's getting really close to level 6. When he's able to do that, I would actually like to see him join up with the team and possibly even rotate the Bushwhack into this top lane, throw down a lane ward, and allow him to kind of static farm off of this tower. Once again, though, the problem being it is a Splinter Shot, and well, he'll have to turn that one off so that he can't push this wave out. But if they are able to find some farm on the Bushwhack while the rest of the team generates pressure, the Pyromancer, Pebbles, and Keeper of the Forest try to start a push, that's going to be ideal to get this Bushwhack back into this game. But even so, he's gotten level 3 pretty much exclusively from farming the easy camp in the jungle.
Yeah.
Excellent use of the available resources here by No Life.
Yeah, he's doing his best, and again, most certainly a hero that can start snowballing as the game picks up early. Right now in this phase, you're not worried about the Bushwhack as much as you are worried about, say, the Pebbles getting that portal key ASAP. And so far, we do have Manhwa, I believe is his name, Manhwa, playing the Pebbles. He is about 300 gold per minute, so he seems like he's coming along just nicely here. And going back to supports on the Hellborn side, I mean, you got both a Magnus and an Engineer who are still level 2, so even more compared to a level 4 Pyromancer here. And a level 5 Parasite, really, is who you have to compare that to. So, again, the fact that they didn't get any kills out of that bottom lane with the roaming and whatnot going on is really going to hurt this Hellborn team now as this game progresses. But something we really haven't talked about just yet is, well, a couple things for the Hellborn team. The positives now is you do have a Torturer who's obviously having insane free farm at the bottom lane, having a good time there. And then also this Wretched Hag is actually having a pretty good time in this matchup, no surprise really. But sitting about 275 gold per minute, and continuing to apply harassment to Keeper of the Forest. So no doubt there are some weapons here over on the Hellborn side as well that they can definitely start picking up with as this mid-game enters.
And kind of giving a little bit of insight into why that match is going so well for Wretched Hag. If you actually bring up the damage charts, she is out of control right now. 61% of the damage done in this game. Up in the top lane, but middle, there might be some action setting up here. Magnus, once again, invis. He could be looking for a big stun into that Pyromancer, but still level 1 Lava Surge.
Yep.
400 range on that. If he goes anywhere near that tower, he will instead be the one that's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so he's obviously going to pick this wisely as far as when and if he goes, but you can tell Pebbles and Pyromancer, they know something's up, and here we go. Here comes the Capella as well. The Kexon going up. The Seismic Slam, though, is going to be off-centered, and now Rally's going to be countered on. Will it be enough for the counter kill? No, it will not. The final auto attack, just not enough damage, and Beef, we're now 7 minutes in, and we still don't have a Bloodlust kill.
I mean, there's no lack of trying here. They've been trying to get this one going, but just a little bit off kilter right there, and that Seismic Slam, a pretty big whiff.
Yeah.
You can tell these are definitely not Diamond teams that we're casting right here. A little bit less experienced with their heroes, maybe a little bit nervous being on the HoNcast stage, essentially. I mean, I know the first time I played a game on HoNcast, I was very nervous, and it definitely could be the case here for these guys. But either way, going to be missing a few of those spells. That was an opportunity, and what I would consider they should have gotten that kill.
Well, I mean, that's why a perfect example right there going back is that's why Engineer can kind of be an awkward partner for a hero like Rally. He's trying to set up a Seismic Slam. All of a sudden, the Kex, that's like, great, you continue to stun him, but all of a sudden my Seismic Slam is now not in range, and I'm going to get countered on. So it definitely can make for an awkward circumstance as it did right there. So that's definitely unfortunate for Rally. They're trying to cut off Pyromancer in the meantime. This turret's going to be used.
But get slowed.
Oh, he compels the illusion. Look at this. He's pulling the Ancients. What are you doing? You're fine. No, why?
All right.
Okay.
Gonna die to neutrals, and I mean, some of you might have heard that that's gotten kind of popular, dying to neutrals intentionally.
Yeah.
But then you take a look at the gold, and that was not an intentional death. You got to buy out before that if you're looking to die intentionally.
Yeah.
Not what happened right there. So that was just kind of weird from Dusty. Not exactly sure what was going on with that one.
I mean, again, as a spectator, we knew those were illusions, so I got to think maybe he just figured that was our actual real engineer, or that was one real engineer, of course, and he thought he was in a lot more danger, but he just panics, man. He just panics, so.
Not a big deal in the end, but 9 minutes in, I mean, look at this resource lead. It's pretty much even. The resources very much so, but if you actually look at the charts here in terms of the gold per minute and experience per minute, you can see that the distribution on the Legion team is a lot more even, but the Hellborn team, they've kind of got those high farming heroes. Top lane, though.
Trouble. No, Nature's Veil is used, and it will be enough. That was close, though.
Yeah. taking a lot of damage there, but unfortunately the Wretched Hag just a little bit too low on mana to finish off the Keeper. If she had one more Sonar Scream available, you can assuredly have seen that first blood.
Speaking of Keeper, actually, and we see a purchase of it right there, but Mystic Vestments obviously great, or I meant to say Wretched Hag, but anyways, Mystic Vestments obviously one of the most popular items in the game for understandable reasons. It did receive that change in the patch, amongst many other things, but it increased from 400 to 500 gold. Again, off the bat, you say, okay, 100 gold, whatever, not the biggest deal. In the stage of the game where you pick it up, though, where you find yourself getting it, that is a very big deal. It really is, and on top of that, it also means you're comparing what 500 gold also the same as obviously Marchers. A lot of the build-up items with the Talisman of the Exile, the Bracers, those are all around that 500 gold mark as well in the 480 or whatnot. So the choices definitely open up, as Doc Kaiser explained, and it makes it a little more difficult to make it, okay, yeah, I'm just going to get Mystic Vestments because it's only 400 gold here. So we're going to see that no doubt have an impact as these games in general just start to now go on.
Yeah, absolutely. A pretty big change, and one that a lot of the competitors called for. But like you said, we will see. But right now, we're actually seeing that push finally come out. Keeper of the Forest, level 8. A keg is going to be thrown, but Pyromancer just too far in the back to actually be in any trouble. There's a Compel going to be coming in, actually, but no follow-up. A TP is there as well. Engineer throwing down a turret, but unfortunately, it's just not going to connect. Chain Reaction is there, and Compel is available in 2 seconds. Keeper of the Forest going to drop the root and try to get out of there. No! Lava Surge going to be coming in. Engineer's going to be the first one to drop right here. Rally going to be trying to get away. Activates the Deafening Roar to get the slow into the Agonizing Punch. Chain Reaction. Torture peeling hard, but no! Gets hit by the Stalagmites now. Slowed down, finished off by Bushwhack. Magnus with the Lava Surge just a little bit too late, and is it over yet? No, they're going to go for Parasite. A nice Compel backward, and they finish off Parasite. So we were looking for that action, Breaky, and they delivered.
Yeah, they certainly did. Parasite most certainly getting a little greedy there in the end, but the biggest thing to note about that, and what just happened ultimately there too, just honestly, I think if you're the Legion side, as you see Chunks making a point that might have lacked a little bit, but anyways, I'm fine with that if you're the Legion side, even with that misplay there with Parasite, because while that was all happening, Bushwhack was just trying to pick up farming on the bottom lane. Now, granted, his farm is still not the greatest. I guess he actually was involved.
Yeah, he got involved in one of those.
I completely mistaken on that. I thought he was actually at the bottom lane the whole time, so he ended up being there. Anyway, so it actually was a 2-for-5 versus 5. But Magnus did make a big stun there in the midst of it to start things off. But again, in the end, overall, I still think. I guess it's really actually, with that said, it may be a pretty even exchange, and the Golden Experience kind of show that as well. So, yeah, I looked at this Bushwhack though, and I guess I kind of expected him to be a little higher GPM after that fight at least, but it really isn't. I mean, he's only at 170 gold per minute right now. So
for being denied for the first maybe 4 minutes of the game though, and getting absolutely nothing, he has had a pretty remarkable comeback at this point. And like I talked about, once he gets those levels in the bear items, which he does have the Steam Boots now, he's going to be able to actually farm out Ancients pretty effectively. So we'll have to look and see if the Hellborn tries to address that by blocking the Ancients or even warding it up so that they might be able to take advantage and get a kill. Right now, though, Pebbles just walked by a Ward of Revelation in the middle lane with an Invis Rune. So we'll see if the Hellborn team was paying attention. It certainly looks like they are actually counterbaiting this. And, oh, there's the Compel going to be used into the Lava Surge. Engineer there with the turret to finish him off. Manhua, a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, you do got to be a little bit careful about that at the same time, but the Hellborn team, they did a good job of masking that. As no doubt they saw him go there the first time. It's just a matter of when they spotted him again, they were going to look to initiate it, and they got the perfect opportunity. Obviously, Pebbles, he had absolutely no clue that there was a Ward of Revelation there, and it definitely pays off for the Hellborn side. So well placed by Lols I'm Bad, playing the Engineer. Not in that case. He actually did a pretty good job.
He did indeed.
Pebbles, and the other thing to note about that, obviously, is Portal Key has now slowed down a little bit. He had around 1875 before that, so now you see around 1600 here as he's going to buy Homecoming Stone. So we'll delay that Portal Key, and we'll delay the snowballing chances of his, at least earlier on in this game, buy some more time for the Hellborn team to continue to build up themselves. And speaking of that, as far as that's coming along, again, both Wretched Hag and Torturer are doing a pretty good job. I kind of feel like, though, this Hellborn team needs to continue to be a little more active. I mean, their makeup speaks that. The mid-game is what we really talked about. That's where they're going to start to explode. And locking down the Bushwhack ultimately. Now, even with the lack of movement, Bushwhack does continue to really, really struggle with farm. So I guess that is a saving grace and why they're not necessarily in the biggest rush at this time. But
Top lane, though. There's the dust going to be applied. Keeper of the Forest takes the Lava Surge. He's going to drop the root. 2-second root. Trying to get out of there. Not going to happen. Sonar Scream from Wretched Hag finishes him off. And not jungling. He's true to his name. Staying in that suicide lane, but gets taken out. That's the nice thing about the dust.
Yeah, well played by Magnus right there. Coming in with the dust and easily setting up the kill onto the Keeper of the Forest. And with that, too, Lightbrand was just purchased by Wretched Hag. So, and she is no carry to scoff at herself. I mean, she can definitely start to progress, especially with that Grimoire, as we see and talk about all the time with her. You get that Grimoire, seems like shortly after, she has a shrunken head on top of that, and she can become a wrecking ball herself, especially with this team makeup. So, gotta be concerned about that if you're the Legion team. And I don't know. I feel like Bushwhack is not... This Legion team, maybe it's a mix of him unfortunately just not getting the best last hits or whatever, but also his team, they need to really be prioritizing, making sure that Bushwhack's having a good time, because he continues to really struggle down here, even with the movement that's been going on recently.
Yeah, he is, and I think a big part of that is Pebbles getting this portal key a little bit late. They're prioritizing getting that portal key. Yeah. They have it now, and we now see 4 members of the Legion team grouping up mid. Now they're going to start to generate that pressure. Bushwhack under threat of the Magnus and Torture, though, in the bottom lane, so going to maybe do a little bit of an exchange. No, TP going to be coming in here. The Hellborn team definitely wants to defend this. Keeper of the Force going to take a compel. Stalagmite's going to be going out defensively. Keg is there, Dust, and Keeper of the Force going to be the first one to drop to that Seismic Slam. Parasite going to get cleaned up by the Bat Blast from Wretched Hag. She hits the Haunt onto Pebbles as he's trying to run away. There's the chain reaction stunt going to miss. Compel going to hit Pebbles as it looks like Pyromancer going to go down, and Pebbles going to be the only one from the Legion team to escape with his life. Or is he? Lava Surge up in 2 seconds. This is a level 4 Lava Surge. They're going to find it. The auto attacks into the Sonar Scream, and he will go down. So 4-0, and the tower defense. The Hellborn team coming out big in the middle lane.
Yeah, the makeup of this Legion team, it's becoming more and more evident that what they tried to do right there with the whole pushing idea, and obviously with the Keeper of the Forest, he has Ring of Sorcery, you can definitely see where they're coming from, but as it showed, I mean, that proved to be honestly a wrong idea. You're basically going into that fight 4 versus 5. You are, because Bushwhack is obviously not with you. He's at the bottom lane farming, and you can pretty safely assume that the Hellborn team is going to defend that tower, knowing that they have the numbers advantage especially. So I just don't like that choice at all. I mean, if you're looking to make something happen, you're looking to get kills, you're looking to get ganks with that portal key. Take it, get some aggressive water sites out there, move around the murderous mobs, as we like to call them, especially with the Parasite. I mean, the fact that, nothing against the player by any means, but he's 0-2-0 here on Parasite, so 0 involvement himself. Obviously only 2 kills in total, so it's relative, I guess. But, I mean, that just shows you that they just have not... They're making some poor decisions here, honestly, when it comes down to their targeted choices and what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to be, we want to push with this Keeper. That's not what you should be doing, though, especially with the Pebbles just getting that portal key. And we saw how that did not pay off right there. And they put themselves in quite a hole, honestly, after that fight. So it's going to be tough to climb out of it now.
They definitely did. They're going to have to sit back and play a little bit more passive now and wait for the Hellborn team to make some mistakes. His nice portal key out by Pebbles, dropping that Chuck and grabbing the tower kill. So that certainly is one step in the right direction. But it's going to come down to this Bushwhack a lot, as their power to push is now pretty minimized. They, of course, have that Keeper of the Force, but like you said, they really want to sit back and try to find some kills and buy time for this Bushwhack now. But look at the build that he's going.
Yeah.
Ended up picking up the Iron Shield really, really late. This is about a 15-minute Iron Shield, but top lane looks like Pyromancer going to get caught out at the rune. Looked like it was just a nice compel into an Engineer Keg, and that's a squishy Pyro.
An invisible Rally was just sitting on top for just waiting for Engineer to ultimately assist. So,
Now Pebbles is going to be the one that's in trouble. The Lava Surge going to be going out here. There's the compel forward. Magnus going to cancel out that ultimate, and Engineer misses the Keg, hits the turret, but not well enough. So that was a little bit of miscommunication.
Rally making a big mistake right there, and actually this could be huge for the Legion team if they can at least get some kind of counter kill. Keeper of the Force coming in, the root does hit. Engineer going to be locked down. Magnus also locked down in the background, as well as Rally. Rally goes for the compel, the Seismic Slam, and it does drop Parasite, the level 2 Seismic Slam on top of that level 4 battle experience, and Parasite did not stand a chance apparently, so... Well, the Legion team tried to get some counters, and actually, Keeper of the Force still hanging around. Compel hits both, actually. Bat Blast on top. Bushwhack trying to stay alive with the side step. Can he get away? No, he cannot. He's going to be chased down. And Keeper of the Force also falls. It's it's just all falling apart.
All right, that was gorgeous coming in there from Bulbasaur. He was able to hit the chain reaction stun from the low ground onto the Keeper of the Forest at maximum range and helped to clean him up. Another big exchange in favor of the Hellborn team. And things are starting to look really, really grim right now. Bushwhack, he's gone these interesting items and now trying to fight with them. This is not a hero that you can fight with at this point in the game. When there's this many lockdown stuns, as Bushwhack, with your movement abilities, you sit there and say, okay, I can get away from slows, I can get away from a stun or two. But when you're looking at these kind of stuns, especially the Compel and the Lava Surge, you cannot use that to actually get away. So really just have to be really well positioned on Bushwhack, otherwise you're going to have a bad time. And that's certainly what No Life is having right now.
You're going to have a bad time, yes. It's that's exactly what is happening right now for What a Joke, unfortunately. And you're now looking at a 10,000 gold and experience deficit here in favor of Pew Fan Club, and obviously all the credit to that. I feel like we are, at least I'd be a little negative towards What a Joke, but at the same time, Pew Fan Club, of course, they are playing very well themselves, and they're making the plays that are necessary. Again, defending that middle lane right there, knowing that they have the numbers advantage, did it beautifully. And on top of that, Wretched Hag and Torture are both continuing to get a great amount of farm here. In fact, the Grimoire is finished now, and Wretched Hag already has the Mighty Blade towards her Shrunken Head, so she's coming along very nicely. Bulbasaur here on Torture, he actually went the Gnome's Wisdom route, being Torture in this case, but he too is going to be looking to finish up his own Shrunken Head here in the near future. So, and this is most certainly a mid-game team that will really shine. Okay, so Bushwhack did choose to go the Helm of the Black Legion with that beast. I was actually very curious if he was going to go an Elder Parasite even with that, but
it's a direct result of the amount of pressure that he's feeling here, and he definitely is feeling like he needs something to tank up, something to just take a little bit more damage before he falls. But there is action over here. Pyromancer gonna get taken out by that Seismic Slam. Did you happen to see the setup on that one, Break?
I just caught the tail end of it, really. It just simply Pyromancer, I think it was going uphill to maybe get some vision, and the whole team happened to be there, basically. So
that's a bad part about going up those hills. I want to touch on, you mentioned that you would call this a mid-game team on the Hellborn, and I definitely agree with you. The heroes kind of scream mid-game, but with the start that Wretched Hag and Torture have had, they both have the opportunity to carry very hard in that late game. I'm talking about the Gnome's Wisdom on Torture that he had at like 7 minutes. Wretched Hag has the Grimoire and going to be halfway to a Shrunken Head here at 21 minutes. I mean, these two heroes are definitely taking off. Bulbasaur, I'm pretty sure that he's actually going to have a Shrunken Head here in about 600 gold. And once you get those two items, both of those heroes are going to be able to break a route from the Keeper of the Forest and continue to wreak havoc on the Legion team. They're in a real rough spot, but the Hellborn team, they've definitely been executing.
Yeah. What a Joke is doing their darnest to persevere here. I mean, Bushwhack has obviously gone up in that GPM chart, now upwards of 260 gold per minute, basically. So, most certainly going in that right direction now. On top of that, he is also level 11, so understandably, helping him get to that point as well. But they're going to continue to need. I mean, I guess with the way this game has been progressing, it's the idea that you want to continue to try to be aggressive with this Pebbles, with the Pyromancer assisting with the Parasite on top of that as well. It might turn into more of a, we need to really protect this Bushwhack now, and when they try to set up ganks on him, we try to counter gank, because it keeps feeling like these opportunities that they're trying to look for, that they keep getting outnumbered, and then before you know it, they're dying and just feeding into the power, the ultimate team power here of this Hellborn side. In fact, the top lane, Keeper of the Forest, he's going to get back before they collapse on him. But all 5 players from Pew Fan Club are up here, and why not? They're going to make a push up at the top lane, figuring better late than never. But they still don't have the Shrunken Head, so maybe you want to wait for that. But
it's actually one flying out here from Torture. Okay. So he does indeed finish that one up here, and I agree with you. Trying to go for those counter ganks seems to be what the Legion team needs, but instead they're going to try to make a hard stand here at this top lane. 4 players already here. When you're dealing with a Portal Key on the Magnus, though, it's going to be really difficult. The Mag going to be able to have a little bit stronger of a time initiating than the Pebbles. Pebbles, with the Soul's Bulwark, though, might try to drop somebody really quick, and if he can get on top of that Engineer or the Wretched Hag, might be able to generate enough damage really early on here. But, Reiki, this is looking to be a pretty tense standoff, and if the Legion team's going to go, they're going to have to go soon.
Parasite is trying to find some kind of angle. He doesn't have a PK himself by any means, but he does have that face hug, the Codex, obviously. It's only level 1 face hug, too, which is actually pretty important. maybe he is going to be hitting level 11 here shortly, but doesn't look like it yet. So not as much damage as he would like, but still has plenty of burst damage. He's looking for not Rally, I think it's safe to say. Something like that Engineer, that Magnus even in the background. But Magnus did a good job of sitting back himself. He's ready with the level 2 Eruption and that Portal Key. And the Hellborn team honestly doing what they can do. I mean, they're just being very patient with this, not overstepping their boundaries. They're not pushing beyond the tower to try to maybe catch any players. They're just going to slowly take down the tower and fall back from that. So well played right there once again from Pew Fan Club. And at the same time, it's what a joke. I mean, they didn't have the opening, and it's good that they didn't try to force anything because that could have just ultimately been the game right there if they did. So, yeah, it sucks, but hey, you now still got a little bit more time to kind of go back into the jungle here for Bushwhack, try to get these camps stacked. You talked about the ancient potential that he has. Get that stacked up, ideally at least 2, if not 3, and really continue to have him recover, but and just try to continue to climb out of the hole really is what it comes down to. But this is going to be a Kongor attempt. And I don't think it's going to be stopped either.
Yeah,
so.
This should be a pretty damn free Kongor with the double damage on Rally here. I want to touch on that top engagement once again, though, their lack thereof. If you were expecting to be up there and not fight, which ultimately ended up being the idea, this comes down to just a little bit of lack of experience on the Legion side from the captain. If you're calling everybody up there, you need to have them fighting.
Yeah.
If you're going to have 3 people there and just try to delay it, that's fine. But you need to have somebody off farming. Bushwhack could have generated another 1,000 gold, 1,500 gold maybe during that time. And unfortunately, he was just sitting behind the tower with everybody else. And I think that just comes down to a little bit of lack of experience here from What a Joke. But in the end, Kongor will drop. Token of Life going to be picked up by the Wretched Hag here.
Yeah.
Level 16, starting to look very, very fearsome in the hands of Dayu.
Yeah, very powerful at this point. Yeah, you definitely bring up a great point right there. I mean, obviously it's a little bit, I'm sure the intention was they wanted to make something happen, but ultimately nothing did happen. And yeah, you're right, as a cat, you got to make that call of, you know what, we're not going to defend this tower, and yeah, you just keep farming, because I'd rather have you do that than just simply sitting here kind of staring at them and ultimately get nothing out of it. So that's basically what happened, though, in the end. And again, disaster continues to add up here for What a Joke. So Token of Life, as you mentioned, on Wretched Hag, the level 16 mark. You got Torturer coming up very quickly. He's got his Shrunken Head finish on their 1,400 gold saved up on him. So it's only a matter of time now when before Pew Fan Club decides to get that full force of, all right, we want to try to push to really end this game now, to not give you too much time to have maybe that Bushwhack recover. So
yeah, the things that you might be looking for, of course, the double Shrunken Heads are finished up now. A Barrier Idol could be one of the next pickups here for Rally, trying to mitigate a lot of that damage. But they have to worry about the other side as well. Bushwhack now going to be about 1,400 gold away from a Shrunken Head himself. You've got a Portal Key on Keeping the Forest to get some better initiation. But the Hellborn team, they're slow playing this. Up in the top lane, as they started to push, they dropped a couple of Ward of Revelations, not only to check for Keeping the Forest, but to check for lane wards, knowing that if they do get initiated on, there's a chance that they could be in some trouble. And this time, not going to be dropping any Ward of Revelations. They see players, especially Keeping the Forest, elsewhere on the map, but Keeper does trade a tower here.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, again, it's the right decision. I mean, as we just talked about, if you're What a Joke here, the idea that you're taking fights, especially with that Token of Life on Wretched Hag, you're really not looking to do it. Now, your base is a little bit different of a story, obviously, where you got the racks to now deal with. You probably want to defend that, but at the same time, it's definitely not going to be any easier. So we do see Keeper of the Forest is continuing to push slightly here. He may try to get the tower kill first. He doesn't have a Soul's Bulwark or anything like that, so it's not going to be as quick as he likes, but the invulnerability comes out at the bottom side.
It's a really early glyph.
Yeah, maybe you did use it. That's true. They use it very early, trying to really deter them. But Keeper of the Forest does ultimately port back. He does tank the next creeper, though, with his minion, so it looks like they might get that tower kill, at least with the creeps. So
yeah,
actually,
without TP back, it definitely should die here.
There you go. Okay.
There it goes. So, nice turn of events here. A big gold influx. Bushwhack 400 gold away from finishing up that Shrunken Head, but it's not going to happen. Breaky, that should take it away.
Parasite gets just owned right there. The Seismic and the Compel. He's picked off right off the bat. He does not have a buyback. I think he just bought another look at spell. Says we got to go though. Torch is the one that target of choice. He now needs to fall back. Root comes out. Eruption in the back are going to jump. The energy field's put down. The Shrunken Head is up for Bushwhack, but there's not much damage coming out as a result of his build. Unfortunately, GG well plays are being called right here. It looks like that is going to be doing it for game number 1, Beef.
Oh, man. I mean, offensive GG well played's coming out there at the end. And hey, the tempers get up, but these players probably haven't been playing much since HoN Tour Season 1. I mean, it's got to be exciting to get back into the swing of things, get back into the competition, and it feels good when you set up a team fight like that. But very, very well done there by the Hellborn team at the end, and that was just a beautifully set up team fight and really a beautifully set up game by them. They did execute properly.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Pew Fan Club deserves all the credit really in the end as far as the victories there is concerned. You know, I do look back at the lineup, though, in general. It was a little bit, I guess, where the thing for me with the lineups, starting with that Keeper of the Forest, obviously a fine pickup for a suicide option. Getting a Keeper Parasite, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It was starting off nicely. The Bushwhack, I mean, no doubt, not only because he's not really a popular carry, but because of his passivity. I mean, he showed that game he really does not bring a lot to the table in the earlier game stages compared to other carry heroes you could have picked up. So
he definitely did not fit into that lineup, and when you're picking him that late in the stage, which I believe he was their last pick, which is of course the second to last pick in the entire game, you know exactly what the other team's working with. You saw the Engineer, you saw the Wretched Hag, the Rally, and of course the Torture. You know that you're going to be dealing